Welcome to the Middle Raged podcast, where your hosts, Adam and Keith, get a bit cross about stuff that really doesn't matter. Bless them. Oh, and we should probably warn you that things can be a bit sweary at times.
Hello and welcome to this episode 40 of the Middle Raged podcast with me, Keith A. Pearson, and in lieu of my usual co-host, Adam Eccles, I'm joined by a guest, our very first and possibly our last ever guest. Now, for those of you who don't like change, I can tell you that he's a middle-aged author who would probably call himself a bit of a grumpy bugger. So, with mild pleasure and some trepidation, I'd like to welcome Jason Ayres to Middle Raged. Jason, good day to you, sir.
Hello, Keith, and great to be here. And I do hope that it's not so bad that I won't be the last guest. So,
well, you're certainly a guinea pig, and we all know what happens to guinea pigs in certain countries. Not naming names
yes.
to avoid offending any particular nation.
Indeed, yes.
So, in lieu of us not cooking you and consuming you, maybe we could, and I'm sure some of the listeners may know who you are because it's ironic that we just swapped out one time travel author for another, basically. But for those of you those listening who don't know who you are, maybe this is your opportunity to tell us who you are, what you do, and why anyone should give a shit.
Yes, well, I am a writer also, as you say, of time travel, so very similar to the sort of stories that both you and Adam write. And I know for certain that we have many readers who have read all our books. In fact, we met quite a few of them, didn't we, a couple of years ago when we had that gathering in Birmingham. So yes, I've been a full-time writer for about 11 years now, and I've written...
Wow, has it been that long?
It has. I don't know where all the time went. And I've written 23 books up until now, nearly all of which have got time travel elements. Currently, I'm writing a series which is all set in the 1980s about middle-aged grumpy buggers like us getting to go back and relive our lives 40 years ago when it was kind of so much better than it is now.
You're going to be tapping into your ideal demographic on this podcast, I suspect. I wouldn't wish to generalize, but I'm going to say that the vast majority of people who listen to this would consider themselves sort of grumpy buggers with a kind of like a rosy tinted feeling for nostalgia. So what's the first one? Is it the Time Bubble, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that the jump off place for readers?
That was the first one many moons ago. My first writing a novel. I guess I don't know if you like this, when you've written so many and you look back, I kind of look back at my early work now, not so much with embarrassment, but I can see how much I've developed as a writer since. So,
it's painstaking. I avoid mine like the plague.
Which is kind of why now that I've started writing these 1980s books, these are quite good because rather than having a single entry point, these, although they form like an anthology series, they're all standalone with different characters. So the first one's 1980, the latest one that's come out is 85, and anyone can jump in and read any one of them, which gives me sort of more entry points for people to find my work rather than having to go back to my first sort of slightly amateurish efforts from over a decade ago.
So here's a question for you. So do you find, and this is something we touched on in a recent episode, Adam and I, that as we advance beyond 50, remembering shit is it becomes more and more of a challenge. Do you find that makes writing books in a series a little bit trickier?
Well, it's interesting because you're right about remembering stuff, but the thing is, I find that I remember everything from back then really well.
Yeah.
It's the stuff recently I can't remember. I mean, I can remember what was in the charts probably this week in 1985, but as for 2005 or, it's, I don't know.
There are no charts after 2000. I think we can all just safely say that's just fact.
Yeah. It's, maybe it's because that part of our lives is so formative and so important. the things that happen around our lives at that time should stay with us. But for the things I can't remember, I've got this, I know we're not a visual podcast, but I've got this massive book here on my book.
For good reason, mate.
If you have good reason. I've got this massive book on my desk here called Top 40 Charts, which has literally got the top 40 for every week in history. So it's Yellow Pages size. Well, when the Yellow Pages was big.
I was going to say, for anyone who doesn't know what Yellow Pages is, but again, I'm going to assume that everyone does.
I would hope so, yeah. There are websites, for example, there's a Radio Times website where you can look up the listings of what was on TV any day in history. And
I've found that.
I'm a real stickler. If I'm writing a scene and it's the 23rd of January 1984 and they're in the living room, I'll look up and see exactly who was on Jack and Ori or Top of the Bar.
And you know why?
Yeah,
you know why?
Yeah.
You have to do that, don't you?
Because there's always one.
There's always one fucking pedant that will pull you up on it if you don't check.
And the thing is, 99% of the other people probably aren't bothered.
No, I would say 99.9%, but those pedants, they're out there.
Indeed,
we know
they are.
So you don't want to be given an excuse. Right. Are you ready to get raging, sir?
Yes, absolutely. I've been listening to you since the first episode. So, I'm well familiar with the concept. So,
just to give you a little bit of a heads up. Okay, so what Adam and I do, just to get really in the zone before we get into it, is we punch ourselves in the balls, just to really get that rage going. So, if you want to do that, and then we can move on to the
okay,
core.
I'm done with that. Okay, I'm not too squeaky now.
If you punch yourself in the balls and that's the worst that happens, I'd go and see a doctor. Okay. So just for those of you who regularly listen to the pods, you'll know that back in, I think it was episode 30, we launched the Middle Raged Manifesto. And that was our list of policies that we thought, perhaps incorrectly, would make Britain a better place, or at least sufferable. So what we've decided to do for our guest episodes is we're asking them to propose their own bills so we can sort of extend the manifesto. And I'll try not to repeat this every single episode, but basically there are 3 bills that each guest will have to propose. There is the private bill, which is a law to prevent sort of personal petty irritations. Then there is the public bill, which are laws to enhance life for all citizens, or at least make living in the UK a little less shit. And then there is the heritage bill, and this is probably my favourite. This is the restoration of a once great facet from the past. So 3 bills, and our guest gets to propose their own, and then once the episode goes out, we'll post it on social media, and you can all chime in and tell us whether you think Jason is a tyrant or a dictator, or a socialist. Label him accordingly. I'm going to guess he's probably not the latter, but we'll see. So that's sorted. Jason, are you ready to enter the chamber?
I certainly am.
Okay, so let's kick off with your proposal for the private bill.
Right then. So as the prospective middle-raged candidate for the constituency of Evesham and Droitwich, I would like to propose the Supermarket Trolley Licensing Act.
I'm liking this already. Okay,
so in a nutshell, what this means is that anyone who wishes to make use of a supermarket trolley must pass a basic trolley usage test and be licensed in the same way that you would if you were to drive a car. So,
do you remember back in the day the cycling proficiency? Are we talking a similar thing?
Well, yes, I do remember that because you've got a sticker on the back of your bike. But
and a certificate.
You were.
I remember.
I don't think you were monitored in any way afterwards. You probably could be these days with trackers and such like.
Yeah.
But no, I mean my basic. my basic premise here is that, like, if you want to drive a car on the roads, you need a license. And to do that, you need to pass a test. Well, 2 tests, isn't it now? Because you have the driving test, which we all did, and the theory test, which
we'd all fail.
Probably all fail, yeah. Hopefully they don't decide we have to do that retrospectively.
Good God, don't.
But effectively, if you've got your driving license and you drive your car or park it like an idiot, you're going to get fined. Sometimes perhaps unfairly, but that's a debate for another day. But when it comes to supermarket trolleys, it appears that anyone can grab one with no training whatsoever and wreak havoc with it.
Do you know what? I think for our very first build, this is so on point because it's something that I try and avoid. I would rather carry 2 baskets than use a trolley because you can get in and out, right, without having to navigate the other users. But the amount of times that I have come across aisle blocking where you will have 2 people adjacent looking at different things and they just randomly leave their trolley. So you've got to sort of run the gauntlet. And I find that as I've got older and less tolerant, my attitude to that is just to smash through them. Fuck being polite anymore. If you don't have the wherewithal to notice that your trolley is blocking an aisle, then you deserve what's coming. That's kind of my take on it.
Yes, and I can't help feeling that in many cases this is done deliberately because it happens too many times for it to be a coincidence. One of the things that, again, going back to the car thing, as you know, if you've got traffic lights and there's a lot of traffic, you have these like yellow hashed areas, don't you?
Yes, no stopping.
Yeah, but what people do when they're queuing to get into town, they'll just stop there and then the lights will change and then nobody can come across from the other exits. And it is remarkable how people manage to put their trolley in the exact spot to block it for everyone. And if they are lucky enough to see one of the staff with one of those big cages stocking up the shelves, then it's like Christmas has come for them because there's already half an aisle. It's like, we'll go there.
We can literally block up the other part of the aisle.
Yeah. So that's one thing. The other one is when the person... they're not blocking the aisle so you can't get past, but they've stopped in front of, say, something like the bacon. And now they want to have a rummage through all the different packets of bacon looking for the best one. And they position themselves. Even if you want to sort of go in from the side, it's not just the trolley in that case, it's the body as well. It's remarkable how they manage to prevent you getting access. Perhaps they don't want you accessing it in case you get the packet that they want.
Do you think there's some sort of issue that they think that you're going to come in and swoop up all the good bacon?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good example. I mean,
what about trolley abandonment? That's an issue I find where somebody will leave their trolley against a shelf and then they'll fuck off to go and find something, 30 feet up the other side of the opposite aisle. And you're just thinking, well, and then you move it and they come rushing back, looking at you as if you've committed some sort of hate crime because you dared to move their trolley that they inconsiderately abandoned in front of the Coleman sauce mixes or whatever it may be that you're trying to look at.
That's an excellent point. We need an amendment to the bill there that trolleys must be attended at all times. So I shall add that into
some sort of tethering system, I think.
Yes.
Like a manacle, maybe.
Yes.
So you're manacled to your trolley, so you can't just abandon it.
Yeah. Because you've got those little chains, the ones where you've got to put the coin in.
Oh,
so
yes.
Maybe you attached to that in some way.
That's a great idea. So that's definitely good. Go in as an amendment.
It's going to be a late night sitting in Parliament when this goes through because they're going to have to debate all of these different clauses.
So is there anything else that grinds your gears regarding the usage of these trolleys, or the misusage, I think we should stress?
Okay, well, we haven't got on to the worst one yet.
Oh, God.
So this is where one of these people spots a friend in the aisle.
Oh.
And it could be just going around the corner or at the top of the aisle. So they actually then park up their trolleys in a way that causes, I suppose on the M25 it would be a 10-mile tailback, probably scaling it down to supermarket, a 10-yard tailback. And while they talk about their ailments, the weather, Gladys's hip operation, etc., etc. Are you already
small talk? And we all know our feelings on small talk, right?
Or marveling at how early the Easter eggs are in the shops this year, or whatever the seasonal event is, yes, and the amazing thing is, you said you would barge past, but the majority of people are far too polite. So I may not be directly behind these two people. I could have 4 or 5 other trolleys, but the person,
I see, right.
The person in front is too polite to say anything. And so, I need to pass it up the chain in some way. But
I guess what you could do, I mean, depending on which aisle you're in. I mean, if you were in the aisle with tinned goods, peaches, beans, that kind of stuff, is to get a tin and just lob it, and in the vain hope that it lands near them. I mean, nobody's going to know it was you, are they? I mean, you could just go back the other way whistling to yourself as a can of Branston baked beans sails through the air. And I think if there was a bit more of that, people would think twice.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why people. Yeah, I don't know why people don't say excuse me. In fact, it could be because I've actually done that, said excuse me to people, and they look round at you shocked and offended, as if how dare you.
There's a degree of entitlement, isn't there? That they can just stand duck. It's a public thoroughfare, and why should they have to move? Despite the fact that they're causing carnage in one corner of the supermarket.
Yes. So all of this is unacceptable behaviour, and also we need mirrors as well. That was the other thing, because you get these. Shall we say, I'll try and put it in a polite way, senior citizens who might be in front of you, who seem to have this, I don't know if you notice this uncanny sixth sense for drifting to the left or the right if you're trying to pass them, as if they know you're there. I don't think they are, because they haven't got mirrors. But really, they're...
Do you know what winds me up more is where you're going along following someone and then they just stop for no reason. Yeah. Is that an insurance scam? I don't know.
So you run into the back of them and then you get sued. Yeah. I mean, what happened to mirror signal manoeuvre? Or is that not a thing anymore?
I mean, I suppose if there's any defence, it could be the trolley itself, because let's face it, most of them have got buggered wheels. So it could be just the trolley going wherever the fuck it fancies.
Yes.
And the human behind is just following it.
Yes, indeed. Now, what we need to talk about is what are the penalties for the people that... Yes.
Oh, yes. We're very much into punishment on Middle Raged.
Exactly,
so,
yes. Because this behaviour cannot go unpunished. So what I suggest is everybody is tracked, so they are last rate, and any of these misdemeanors that we've discussed will incorporate a fine, which when they reach the tills is added onto their bill.
Oh, I like this. Okay.
And the good news is, right, because we all know how bloody expensive going food shopping is these days, is that rather than, a significant proportion of this money, not all of it, because obviously some of it needs to come to us as the benevolent rulers, but
what you're saying is tax.
Tax. We'll have our chunk, and then the rest
40%.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. And then the rest goes straight back to all of the well-behaved shoppers who have not committed any crimes with an automatic percentage discount at the till when they pay. And
perfect.
Yeah, so
I like this.
You go in and you spend 40 quid and it's like, excellent driving today, very impressive. Here's a £5 off
for trolley etiquette.
Yes, absolutely.
I like this very much. I think that is absolutely on the money. And do you know what? I've got a strong feeling that once this goes up onto the socials, as the kids say, you'll find that there will be rank and file agreement. It's very hard to push back on any of this because it is, particularly at sort of Christmas and the like, it is carnage in most supermarkets. And I think your proposal would put pay to an awful lot of the inconsiderate arseholes. Do you know what? A new phenomena that I've encountered recently is the double trolley, where you get a couple go together.
Oh.
And they take a trolley each.
Yes. And go round side by side?
Basically they're joined at the hip, so they're carrying around they're pushing their two trolleys together in tandem, or side by side, I should say. It's a bit like the equivalent of a couple walking down a narrow pavement holding hands.
Yes, and taking up the entire... Yeah.
Absolutely. Oblivious to the rest of the world or the fact that they're holding people up.
Yes.
But I mean, Jesus Christ, the thought of, I think that food shopping is a lot like masturbation. Realistically, you just want to do it on your own and get it out of the way.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but the thing is, it has to be done. And I've had people say,
"Are we still talking about shopping?"
Yeah. Well,
okay, right.
Could be. But it's like, I in the past when talking to people about like Christmas shopping or something like that, isn't Christmas shopping awful? And it's like, there's always some, I say, I went to there and it was packed, etc. And then they'll go, well, you should get it done online. And it's like, there's always someone who will say that. But then it's like, well, you see, my dad tried that. And he put in this order. It's on the 20th, 21st of December, whatever, last year. And all the food came on the 22nd, and it all had use by dates of the 21st. So to be fair,
and you've got to book those slots in like August, right?
Yeah. So what do you do then? Well, he complained, and they actually gave him the money back and let him keep the food. So he just froze most of it. So it was okay. But, I mean, my dad's 86. He doesn't want to be having all that scrum around the supermarket probably. So that's probably why he would do it. But I think the rest of us, we just have to battle on.
Sadly, we do. Yeah. So thank you. I think that is a worthwhile and an exceptional first bill. So shall we move on to your public bill?
Yes. Okay. So the public bill is the Customer Service Charter. Now, this is perhaps not as original as the first one, and it probably touches on something that you and Adam have definitely discussed before, to do with customer service and being able to contact people. And the headline of this bill is: every organisation must display a phone number on all websites and correspondence, which must be answered by a real human being with strict limits on waiting times and zero automated nonsense.
Huzzah. Absolutely. Yeah. Isn't it funny how that was the standard, obviously before, the web, a company would have their phone number listed in a big fucking book, and you'd look it up, you'd ring it, and someone would answer.
Yes, and it still is in some cases, like with little local, like in my town, there's a little local electrical shop which sells a few goods, and they're quite competitive, compared to the big chains. And if I do ring up, there is somebody that answers the phone, but unfortunately, you cannot buy your internet or your electricity or gas from a little a bloke down the road.
More's the pity, I would say.
Yes. So you have no choice but to go to these organisations. And I don't know if you've noticed, but that it's almost impossible to actually find either a telephone number or an email address on the actual websites.
Everything gets funneled through something they colloquially call a knowledge base.
Yes, is that
where you click on need help? You think, yes, I do need help, and so can I speak to a human? Click this link. No, you're going to go to a knowledge base or some sort of forum based thing where the company's customers are expected to deal with your issue.
Yes.
No actual phone number, no email address, no form, no nothing. No. Just you go around in these circles trying to find something which was the go-to metric back in the day.
Well, the first thing the first thing they always have is this FAQ, frequently asked questions. Now, I don't know who the people are who are frequently asking these questions, but I've never seen a question on that list that I'm asking. And normally they're questions that are so basic and dumb that anybody with an ounce of intelligence would already know or have worked these things out. They're not generally, if you're on there looking for something because you've got a problem, it's not something incredibly simple that 9 people out of 10 would figure out.
These, and I also find they're heavily weighted. Like, how do I recommend this product or service to my friends or family? You're like, well, I can't and I won't because I can't fucking call you, which is reason enough not to recommend you. They're always, who thinks these things up? Morons.
Indeed, yes. And the preferred method of choice now is the website AI chatbots. Now, I watched the odd YouTube video where people talk about we've only got a year or two left because AI is becoming so all powerful. It is going it's either going to take everybody's jobs or it's going to develop sentience and kill us all. Well, all I can say from my experience with these chatbots is I think we've got a bit more than a year or two.
It would start the destruction of the humankind, and then it would forget after an hour. What are humans?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, what happens with these AI chatbots is your one mission when you actually are talking to one of these is not what can I ask it to solve the problem, is what is the correct terminology to use to get it to put me through to a real person. It kind of reminds me of those old 80s adventure games on the Commodore 64 on the Spec. The ones, where you had to type, you're in a cave and you have to say, something like use sword or something to kill the monster.
Yes, but talk to goblin.
But because the correct terminology was like not use sword, it was like attack with sword. You didn't type the right thing in, you just died. And it's kind of like that. So you just kind of the will to, and eventually you'll always get put through to a human chat person, but they are kind of only sort of one step up on the evolutionary ladder generally. So it's and
also typing. I'd spend all day typing. I don't want to have to type to deal with this crap, right?
Yeah.
I just want to talk to you. So I can try to explain at something, particularly if it's a slightly complex. In fact, as you rightly say, these people are idiots. So therefore, trying to explain something which is mildly complicated, and also that you've tried numerous other things to rectify the situation yourself because you knew that you'd be entering this hellscape.
Yeah.
So you want to say, I've done this, done that, done this, right? But no. So you've got to then type out an essay, or you've got to then go systematic. Have you tried doing this? Really? I hadn't thought about turning it off and on again. I mean, it's that level of frustration because you can't actually communicate as humans are supposed to communicate.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And all of this, we are told, is to make our lives easier. But it's not to make our lives easier, it's to make their lives easier.
100%.
And I think how much does it really cost to employ a few customer service people in terms of the goodwill that it gives to your business? I mean, we're talking about banks and big energy companies here that are probably making billions of pounds a year. You'd think they could afford a few 100,000 to employ a team of 20, 30 people just to answer the phone.
You must think, right, because these big companies, they all have shareholders. The shareholders probably use their services. Are the shareholders not going, this is so awful to use. Why do I have shares in a company that is so horrendously crap when it comes to customer service? You'd think there'd be some pushback by the actual shareholders, or do they just not give a shit because they're getting their dividends?
Possibly, maybe they've got their own special hotline. Like in the old days at the companies, you knew you'd made it if you got the key to the executive toilet. Or
God.
So what is to be done? Well, I think we have to make this law, and there should be things. So, I mean, obviously, they can't answer all the time, so you might have to be put on hold. But no chat menu. Press 1, press 2, press 3. Absolutely no bloody awful music that you have to listen to. Because that's. Because you've got no choice, have you? It's like if something comes on the radio and you don't like it, you just turn it off. But with this,
we should have a special mention to the HMRC.
Yes.
Because I don't know what it is there, but I reckon that music was specifically designed to drive people insane or drive them off the phone.
Yeah.
Because that one is so repetitive, it's so monotonous. It's not even music. I don't know what it is. Some sort of oral torture.
Yes.
It's anyone who's been on hold to HMRC will know exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll be listening to that for a long time.
Yeah. And the other thing, sometimes they interrupt the music to say, "Did you know you can find the answer to many commonly asked questions on our website?" Well, no, I couldn't find it there. That's why I fucking rang you up.
Because I love sitting in a queue being told to do something else, which I know I've already tried. Or listen, I know it's a trope, but the worst thing that they can say in those recorded snippets between the monotonous music is,
"Your call is important to us."
Yes.
It had to be, yeah.
Is that not one of the things? Do you know what? That's up there. You know when people say to one another when they meet in the street or whatever, or in a supermarket when they're blocking an aisle, they go, "Hi, how are you?" And everyone lies, right? That is one of the greatest lies, because you'll never tell the truth. So, but the second biggest lie.
Thanks, how are you?
Yeah, exactly. But the second biggest lie is your call is important to us.
Yeah.
No,
it's not. It's if they substituted the word "call" for money, that would probably.
It's that thing is that you can get through to the sales department of it. If you want to, say, for example, call your mobile phone provider. If you call the sales that you're doing an upgrade or you're thinking of leaving or something, because that involves money, you're right through. But if you need actual support or help with billing or anything like, they've probably got 1,000 people on the desks for new orders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not the actual band, obviously. That would be a bit weird, wouldn't it? But they probably got 3 people dealing with actual issues. I reckon that's the way that most companies set up these days.
Yeah, and
or
then
none.
when you get through, sometimes you end up with a sales pitch anyway. Because I phone up to like renegotiate my broadband or something, and it's like, then you're being sold the television, and you can see. I just phone up about the broadband, but because they want you to have everything under one roof, don't they? It's with BT. It's like, so you've got the internet, you've got the mobile, and you've got their television service. So we can only offer you a discount if you have all 3. Yeah. And it's like, well, I can't have all 3 because I just signed up to the other one like 3 months ago for the next 18 months. So,
and I really want a landline in 2026, right?
Yeah. I just got rid of mine. Well, but I think most people got rid of them years ago.
But Virgin Media, for sure, still will only give you a discount if you have a landline. It's not even a proper landline like the old ones that used to plug in the wall with a rotary telephone. It's actually just a VoIP line. So it's basically they've given you Skype.
Yeah. If it still was a rotary telephone with a dial, I'd probably have one for the nostalgia value.
Well, you say that, but then the thought of actually dialing, do you remember you'd get, I don't know, sort of 11 digits into a number and then you'd misdial.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, there's another 10 minutes of my life I'm never going to get back.
Yeah. It's one of those things when you see one of those old phones, it does sort of fill you with the memories, doesn't it? But it's
good
one of the
bad
things that's probably wasn't as good as we think it was through.
I think the sound of it's a bit like Space Invaders.
Yeah.
The sound of Space Invaders is so, I mean, it just triggers something in you. But the actual game itself, I don't know if you've ever played it recently.
Yeah.
You think, wow, this is pretty tedious.
I used to love Space. The only time I really remember experiencing it, we're going off topic a bit, but when about sort of 10 years old, when the fair used to come to town, because they would have all these games. Well, I lived in a village, so we didn't have big arcades and stuff, but they would set up in the field and there'd be Space Invaders and Asteroids and all the others. So those were my sort of first experiences of those games. So,
along with a freak show.
Yeah. I
don't know what sort of circuses you had. But,
and the goldfish.
Yeah, no, that was a thing, wasn't it? Goldfish in a bag.
Yeah, I think that's illegal now.
Well, rightly so. I don't know why it was ever a thing in the first place. Anyone's listening to this that is either younger than 40 or not from the UK is going to go, what the fuck? Yeah, we used to go to this fairground, and if you'd play like a darts game or a ping pong in a ball, your prize would be a goldfish in a transparent bag of water. It's mad when you think about that, really.
And, if it sort of survived to get until you got it home, then that was a bonus.
Put it this way, you weren't naming it or planning birthdays. No. I think that's fair to say. They didn't last very long. God, what an awful thing now, I've come to think of it. I've forgotten all about that. This is so on brand for Middle Raged, we've completely gone off piece. Yeah. So, right, back to the public bill. Okay, so what are we going to do about this? What penalties? I mean, there's got to be the way of actually making sure there needs to be an adequate punishment. I mean, we're thinking back to the original manifesto where Adam had his stocks in the town square where you'd be left overnight to let all sort of miscreants do whatever they like with you.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking
we need something of a similar ilk. I think this is the problem with fines, and this is the thing with the water companies, is you fine them and what happens is that money just gets put onto everyone's bill. So no one gives a shit. So we need something with real teeth.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that because my proposed punishment was along the line of fines. So I was going to say any more than 5 minutes and they get charged. You remember those old 0898 numbers that you used to have to pay £1 a minute?
I never called them, mate.
Of course you didn't. So after 5 minutes, it's like a reverse 0898. So the company starts getting charged £1 a minute. But like you say, they'll just chuck it back on your bill. So what can you do? I don't know.
Well, I think the only thing with all of these is you have to go to the people who are managing the companies, and there has to be some personal penance that they have to pay. I think that's the only way you get this done, because anything monetary just gets thrown back at the consumer. So this is where Adam's stocks. So I think realistically in the short term, what we'll do is we'll just use Adam's stocks, as they are now to be known.
I do have one idea actually now, thinking about it on the hoof. What about if they are forced to go into a sealed room and have the equivalent of the phoning experience? There will be speakers all around, but we can project in the choice of music that they have to listen to in the punishment room. So, some of those, great classic Christmas records like Mr. Blobby or
Do you know what would do it for me? Achy Breaky Heart, Billy Ray Cyrus. That on a loop.
Yeah.
For hours, days.
Yes.
Okay, I'm liking this. I mean, it's probably we would breach multiple human rights laws.
Oh, that's about. We'll just repeal all those when we get into power.
Okay, good point. Yeah, and I don't think anyone would push back. I mean, who's going to be pushed? You can't see people taking to the streets to say directors of billion-pound global companies should not be punished for their crimes. So I can't see there's going to be much pushback, really. So we'll get that through. Yeah. No worries.
Excellent.
Okay, so it'll be Jason's room of Jason Donovan.
Yeah. And other hits from Stock Aitken and Waterman.
Well, if that's not deterrent, I don't know what is. Okay, so moving on to the my favourite one, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this, I hope. This is the Heritage Bill. So this is anything from any guests past which really should be brought back because life was clearly much better there despite, rampant unemployment and rickets. So what have you got for us? Okay,
so I think people are going to like this one. So my Heritage Bill is the Little Chef Restoration Act.
Okay. Should you explain to people who don't know what Little Chef is? Because people will be thinking, you just want to bring back dwarf cooks.
Okay, so yes, the Little Chef, for anyone that doesn't know, and I guess if you do have some listeners in America, don't you? Was a chain of roadside cafes, or I suppose they not be dissimilar to the American diner, would they?
Correct. Restaurant's a bit of a push. I mean, you're not going out for dinner with your significant other to a little. Well, if you are, I would suggest, particularly if it's an anniversary or something, that you're probably not going to make the next one.
No. So these there were hundreds of them dotted all over the country. They were a lot of the motorway service stations. They were along all of the A roads, normally like at a roundabout. Kind of every town, wouldn't there be? Like you go down the A34 and there'd be. You
were never more than 5 miles from a Little Chef, I would say.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I made that statistic up, but I'm going to say it's plausible.
It's plausible. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, probably every 10 miles or so, depending on where you were. But they were part of the national infrastructure, really, and everybody knew what a Little Chef was. It had this sort of red sign with the sort of little white, shall we say, chubby depiction.
I think we can say we can still say white and we can still say chubby. But next year, who knows?
Well,
we'll see.
They might want to redesign it for modern audiences, but hopefully not. We and. It disappeared. It was not that long ago. I mean, when I was out on the road in my old job with Nielsen 25 years ago, they were still thriving. But effectively, what the Little Chef offered was the same sort of thing you'd get in something like a Wimpy. It would be they'd have all day breakfasts with all the constituent parts. They'd have things like burgers, fish and chips, all that sort of stuff. And it was the sort of place that you would stop and have a relatively inexpensive meal while you were out on the road.
It was essentially a cafe, just with laminated menus and cleaner cutlery, right? Yeah. And the person behind the counter wasn't smoking a cigarette while you were
no, they just nipped round the back to do that while the sausages were because they had they didn't have a proper grill, if I remember. They had one of those flat I don't know what you call them. It's like a grill, but it's one flat plate and it sort of slopes downwards, so all the fat sort of drains.
I think it's got where we'd need Mr. Yeah, I'm going to go flat plate.
Call it flat plate. Yes.
This is Adam doing the edit and butting in just to tell you that the correct word is griddle.
And everything was done on there. And then they brought it to you. And it was, I say, relatively inexpensive. And you could say it was cheap and cheerful, but it was reasonable quality food at the price. And if you were out on a 200-mile drive, the perfect place to stop, really.
I think it kind of was like the precursor to sort of fast food because there was a consistency. I mean, not to say the consistency was good, but there was at least consistency. You knew what there was not. It was not a lottery stopping off. You knew that you would get the breakfast would be the same whether you were in Nuneaton or Nantwich.
Absolutely, and it was reliable, and it was a absolute godsend for me because, as I say, when I worked for Nielsen, I left there in 2005. I had
who in Nielsen?
Nielsen are a company a market research company, a big market research company. If you've ever bought barcodes for your books, you might have bought them from Nielsen.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I wasn't sure. Yeah, okay. Not Dennis Nielsen, the serial killer.
No, not Dennis Nielsen.
I wasn't sure if you were in his employment at any point in your
I might have to
prior life.
I might have to tap them up and see if I can get some cheap barcodes as an ex-employee, but they probably have forgotten who I am by now.
Mate, you've been replaced by an AI bot, so you've got no hope.
So at the time, I used to travel around to various clients. I had a great job in the early 2000s where I worked on a thing called Pub Track. So that even the name conjures up great images, doesn't it? So we signed up about 20 different brewers, all to give us their information from their pubs for their beer and their food, so we could combine it all together to create like an index of what was selling across all the pubs in the country, and then sell that information to the industry. So that was the sort of what we did. But while we were setting this up, part of my job was to go out to all these breweries to persuade these people to come and join us. So as you can imagine, that was quite fun. And a lot of these breweries were sort of family-run places, and you'd go up there for a meeting, and then they'd love to show you around the brewery, and let's go for a few beers, and it was good time. Yeah,
that sounds like a terrible. Now I'm going to guess the problem with this particular era, and may be one reason that the Little Chef is no more, is because basically everything they sold was really bad for you.
Well, yes, it was, and I got to admit, I was probably not the healthiest person in that era, driving around a lot. And you see, I'd be going to these breweries. They might be somewhere like St Austell in Cornwall, which is a long way from anywhere, or somewhere up north. And I'd have like a meeting. I'd have to be there at like 11 o'clock. Or something. So I'd leave at home at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not really a morning person for eating. So I'd have a coffee and whatever. And I'd get on the road. I'd allow myself a bit of time and get down the A30 somewhere. And it'd be like sort of 9 o'clock, 9:30. And I'd be well ahead of time. It'd be right, well, time to stop off at Little Chef now. And you always knew there'd be one there. And the great thing about it was when we were out on the road, we had a daily meal allowance. And anyone who's ever done this sort of thing was probably had a similar thing, which I remember at the time, and we're talking sort of getting 20, 25 years ago, our meal allowance was £7.50. So that was reasonably generous. So if you stopped off and got, say, a sandwich and a can of drink and a bag of crisps or something, that probably would only cost you about £3 or £4 in those days. But which I kind of didn't like, because I like to get the value out of things, you see. And if I've got £7.50 to spend and I'm only getting £4 worth of stuff, I'm leaving money on the table. And then I discovered that the Little Chef Olympic breakfast cost £7.49.
There is an irony here, right? I mean, firstly, that's top. I mean, you ain't getting any better than that, are you? But the fact that they call it Olympic implies some sort of. When you think of the Olympics, you're not thinking about a full English as a rule. It's hard to sort of draw those two together.
Well, it was kind of like a cross between a full English and a lunch, because it had all of the breakfast constituents, but in addition, it had these like fried potatoes. So that they weren't chips or like sauteed potatoes. They were like these little disc-shaped ones. So I think that was the idea. That was the additional thing. And the other thing, because the normal breakfast was called the early starter, and I think that was about a £5, which had a bit less. But the Olympic, not only did you get these potatoes, but you also got unlimited coffee and orange juice. So it certainly made up for these, because you'd have to pay for those separately, so I recall.
I'm going to bet their coffee was not great.
I don't.
25 years ago,
no,
that's probably mellow birds.
Yeah, well, they did. The thing is, I do know a bit about the drinks there because I worked in one when I was about 18. And
can I just interject here, because when I told Adam about your heritage bill proposal, he actually confessed that he had worked in a little chef in, I think it was 89 to 91. Yeah. He was a little chef. He actually was a chef in a little chef.
Well, there you go. That's it.
So you two, yeah.
I have met other people that also did this. So it was quite a rite of passage, much like people working in McDonald's and stuff, I guess. And many of us did it.
Yeah. Or supermarkets.
But
yeah.
when I worked there, I was in charge of the drinks. I do remember there being coffee machines and stuff. But the one thing I do recall is that they had excellent milkshakes. These ones where
I seem to remember. Yeah. Yes, I do remember.
Very good milkshakes. Because again, this when you worked there, however many hours you did, you got a meal allowance. So I think if you did a 6-hour shift, it was enough for an early start. Or if you did like a 9-hour shift, you'd have enough for an Olympic breakfast. It's crazy how these things stay. And then you'd have that sort of, before you left. So that
can't you just wander through the kitchen and just steal a sausage off the hot plate? I mean, surely that happened. It was like an aperitif.
Certain things did happen. I don't know if I should say this, but they're.
But I don't think. I think the chances of being sued by a little chef are Well, I'm going to guess they're remote now.
They did used to do steaks, and one day, and I was only, say, 17 or 18. I've not been there long, and I wandered into the kitchen, and there was this older guy who worked there. And a van parked round the back with the door open, and they were getting these bags of frozen steaks out and handing it to these guys. And I was like, well, what's going on here? I wasn't quite sure. And the guy looked at me, and he was like sort of, older and, quite not the sort of guy you'd mess with. And all I remember him saying to me was, "You saw nothing." So I went back into the restaurant and forgot all about it until now. So hopefully he won't come after me now. I think I'm pretty safe some 37 years later. But
well, Jason Ayres of Oxfordshire, postcode.
Yes. So
I think I should imagine if he was working a little chef for any number of years, he had coronary heart disease a good while back.
I'm surprised I haven't got it. I mean, because I was literally living on this. I'm much healthier these days, I'm pleased to say. But I think the pinnacle, the point where I knew my little chef addiction had gone too far, was the day when I had 2.
Oh,
I have to
2 Olympians,
20 miles and 45 minutes apart. Shall I tell you how this shameful state of affairs came about?
I'm intrigued, also concerned that you had some sort of addiction issue at the time.
It was dreadful. I blame it on the corporate lifestyle. I mean, some people turn to like various substances, don't they, to get them through. And my substance of choice was the fast food. So
crispy potatoes.
So I was cruising back from a meeting at Hall and Woodhouse Brewery, which is in Hampshire.
May I make a guess at the car you were driving?
Okay.
So so you were basically a sort of salesy rep type person, and this would have been in the early noughties, 90s.
Yeah, early noughties.
Okay, and were you senior, junior, sort of mid-ranking?
Sort of middle management.
Okay, so the go-to would be the back then were we Sierra then, or were we into the Oh my God, I've forgotten the bloody name. The Mondeo.
Well, I did. Right. So I did. And it wasn't a Mondeo. I think it was actually an Escort, but one of the ones that looked like a Mondeo. But then around this time when I got promoted, I got upgraded and I got a Volvo S40, which was a very nice car, and probably the best car I ever had. Certainly a step up on the 17-year-old Kia that I'm now driving. So.
My first ever company car was a 1.2 litre Astra L.
Yes.
And I was chuffed to have a company car, but looking back, my God, that thing was awful. Absolutely awful. So you never, as in any of your positions while you're out on the road, you never did a Vectra.
No.
What was the other one before the Vectra? The
Vauxhall
Cavalier.
My boss had a Vauxhall Cavalier, a red one, I remember, for a while. But then he got.
I think everyone had one at some point.
There was there was a real hierarchy of what car you were entitled to at which band you were. But I didn't stay long enough to get up into the upper echelons.
Probably just as well.
Probably just as well. So anyway, I was coming back from Hall and Woodhouse Brewery, who aren't that well known. They make Badger beer, but they were also, interestingly, the makers of, and here's another blast from the past, Panda Pops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's like, that's coloured fizzy chemicals that tastes vaguely of some fruit.
It was. Predominantly, you would get those in pubs. So you remember the days when they would have a children's room in a pub, and you might not get real Pepsi or Coca. You would get a Panda Pop.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
that was, well, it was cheap. I seem to remember it was just incredibly cheap compared to some Coke or Pepsi or anything else.
I can't remember if they had them in the shops or not, but if they did, I think they were maybe cheaper.
Yeah, they definitely did.
So anyway.
Yeah.
So I was on my way back, and I stopped off at a Little Chef, as you do. For I don't know if it was an early start or a breakfast, but all I remember was it was an incredibly hot day. So instead of having coffee, I had either Coke or Pepsi. I don't know which one they sell. Other brands are available, as they say. And
there aren't.
So I was eating my breakfast and feeling a bit parched. I went to take a swig out of this glass of cola, and just as I was doing so, I noticed the entire thing was absolutely crawling with ants, and they must have come out of the machine. There's no other explanation. And it was like, I don't think I got any of them in my mouth, but it was like, so okay, it was not quite.
Did this break the spell for you?
Well, thankfully, I'd already eaten most of the food, so it didn't help. But then I called over a member of staff, and they were like, they couldn't apologise enough. It's good customer service in those days. I didn't have to go on my phone and go through a chat box to get the waiter to come over.
It's a shame they didn't care about the actual hygiene of their kitchen as much as their customer service.
I don't know what happened there. The ants must have got into the drinks machine or something. But so anyway, so I complained, and they were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir," etc., etc. Look, and of course your meal is on the house. And I was, that's very kind of you. Yeah. Won't complain. It's only after I got back into my car and started cruising back up towards the M27 that it suddenly struck me, well, they'd given me this free meal, but the company were paying, so I'm not actually any better off. And just as I was thinking this, another Little Chef hove into view. I was thinking, I could probably squeeze another one in.
No.
Oh, yes. I told you I was a greedy bastard, me, back in the day.
Oh God, that's actually making me feel slightly nauseous thinking about that.
In I went, and it was Olympic breakfast number 2, and and then not long after that, I left, and I got a job in local town, and I wasn't traversing anymore, so my kind of love affair with the Little Chef not so much came to an end, but then of course they either went bust or got bought out, or effectively they disappeared, didn't they? Probably
Completely. You can still see traces of them because they're quite distinctive. But
Yeah.
when they had purpose-built buildings, they were quite distinctive in their styling.
Because the one...
And you will probably see Costa Coffees and Starbucks that all sort of still use those original buildings.
The one that I worked in 1988 is now like a motorcycle showroom, but it's still got that brickwork and that roof that you'd associate with it.
Very distinct. It's a bit like a Blockbusters, isn't it? You can still spot a Blockbuster. No, Pizza Hut, that's the one, because Pizza Hut had a similar thing where they had buildings that were built to order.
Yes.
And I think that was the same with Little Chef. So they are still around. The buildings themselves are still around. As in terms of a heritage bill, I'm wondering if this would be the death knell for Jason Ayres if they ever actually came back, though, because you would become like the Augustus Gloop
I know. Terrible. I mean,
of the literary world.
All these...
You'd be unable to stop yourself.
All these years that I've been in recovery and... Well,
the problem that you'll find, though, it's like most things that do you remember, you know, that a lot of manufacturers have this habit now of just bringing back brands and products that they killed off decades ago. And I think, and they sell well initially because there's the nostalgia element to it. So people will go back and buy them. And then you buy something and you go, do you know what? This is actually a bit shit.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's going to be a bit of that. So you'll sit down for your first Olympian in 20 odd years and you'll start tucking into it and you go, this is vile.
Well, it will be. And because they're probably be with inferior ingredients because everything's cut to the bone now, isn't it? Like all the discussions we've had about, or you've had about sort of shrinkflation and things getting smaller or ingredient.
One sausage.
Exactly. It's like it will be a pale imitation of what it once was.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally.
And so, but if it comes back, it's got to be brought back by proper aficionados. So, for example, heritage is a good word here because all those like heritage railway lines that have reopened for all the ones, many of them that were closed like in the 60s, but you've got these people that have always loved their little railway line and they reopen it and a little 20-mile stretch of line. There's one that I went a couple of years ago up north, the Ravendale and Eccles Railway. So they always have delightful names like that.
Well, the one near me is the Watercress line.
And they're always, the sort of people that are going to be staffing them. It's always guys who are sort of in their 70s or who were ex-railway workers. And every detail they're pristine, aren't they? Because they absolutely love what they do. What we need...
Attention to detail,
if Little Chef is going to come back, it's got to be people like me who loved what they do. Though I'm not volunteering myself because obviously I'm going to be too busy in Parliament with all this and all the other bills that we need to get through.
Yes.
So we need to find some people. But it's got to be done properly or not at all.
Well, I think you and Adam together could probably form a subcommittee to oversee the recruitment of said heritage experts and fat bastards. Basically and those that haven't died of some medical, some weight-related disease could probably chip in, I guess. No pun intended. But I think that as a first proposal under the Heritage Bill, it definitely has merit. Let's not avoid the elephant in the room, literal.
Which I probably will be if they come back.
Well, this is, at our age, again, thinking of our demographics, should we be eating 2 Olympic-size breakfasts a day? Probably not, but anyway, that's all in the detail. And I think that very nicely rounds off our first ever guest episode, and I hope everyone has thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's been great, and we haven't missed Adam at all. In fact, he's possibly redundant now.
He's probably
apart from his editing skills. Obviously,
he's probably feeling sad that he missed out. So.
Well, I think he's probably feeling sad because he's having to actually do his day job while I'm doing this, and I think that's enough to make any man sad.
Yes.
But before we sign off, just a quick reminder: where should people go to find your stuff, your books, anything else?
Well, the easiest place to go to look for me in terms of books is on Amazon, though you can find them in other places. I keep noticing that they're popping up in places like Waterstones and stuff these days. I'm not quite sure how, but I think they're ordering them online from somewhere. But also on Audible, the audio books, most of them are on audio. And in terms of finding me, if you Google me, you can find me. I've got a website, and I've also got an active Facebook page, Jason Ayres Author, where I post pretty much every day. And
Excellent stuff. So if you're into time travel, and I think we've already, or Jason has already demonstrated that nostalgia is his bag, and you'd like to know more about travels along the A roads of England, stopping at various eateries, that I would heartily recommend going to Amazon, look up his time travel novels, and get reading.
Thank you, Keith.
There we are. Lovely. Perfect. Thank you very much for joining us on this first ever guest episode of the Middle Raged podcast. And we'll be back with a new guest very soon.
Brilliant. It's been a blast. And thank you very much. And see you soon.
You will.